What's up YouTube? If you are going to buy a good property, you need a good analytic skill. Did you know that in order for you to get good property, you have to ask good and relevant questions? In this video, I am going to share with you the questions to ask when it comes to getting a rental property. Why asking relevant questions is important. If you don't ask relevant questions, you will not be able to know if the property is good to invest or not. You could end up with a bad property if you fail to ask the right questions. Imagine that you bought a property and you're unable to rent it out. Or if you bought a property and signed the SPA and subsequently you're unable to get a loan, that would cause you to lose money. This question that I'm going to share with you looks so simple and obvious, but many people don't ask these questions. By the way, in the description below, I prepared a chapters for all the questions that I'm going to share with you. So you can click on it and hear my explanation why you need to ask these questions. Here are the top 20 questions that you need to ask when investing property. Question number 1. When is the property completed? This question not only you'll be able to know how old is the building, but you can estimate if the property is likelihood to give you any repair needed. So you have to be prepared if you need to spend a little bit money into fixing the old stuff. Question number 2. Is the title issued? Now, there are a lot of properties in Malaysia that it is still under master title. Now, if it is still under master title for more than 10 years, then they will have difficulty in getting loans from the bank. Question number 3. Has the owner perfected the title? Now, why we need to know if the title has been perfected? The first thing is that we need to know if the title is already issued. That's why the owner can transfer to his name. Number 2 is that we need to make sure if the developer is still exists to do the transfer to you. Now, sometimes we call it direct transfer, where the title, if it's already issued, transfer to your name without transfer to the owner. Now with this, it is much easier and faster to do the transaction rather than to go the title transfer to the owner first and then from the owner to you. It takes time. So this is something that it will help in terms of planning your time. Question number 4. Any bank finance the property? Now this question rather obvious because we leverage when it comes to property investment. Therefore, we need to find out which bank actually finance that property. Question number 5. Total units. Knowing the total units in a building is important for us to gauge the competition in terms of rentals and selling the property. Number 6 is how much is the maintenance fee. Now the service maintenance fee is important for us to calculate our cost in keeping the property. At the same time, we have to ask the agents or owner if the service maintenance including the car park or excluding the car park, because some of the projects that maintenance is including the car parks, it means that your cost every month is much higher, because not only that you need to pay for the maintenance on your building, at the same time you need to pay the maintenance on the car park as well. Question number 7. How many car parks? Knowing how many car parks is important because the car park is actually an accessory parcel to your unit and it actually has a value to it. Number 8. What is the market value? Now this is a question rather obvious, but you need to ask this question from the owner, from the agent, and as well you need to find out yourself. Ask yourself what is the market value to this property, and you can obviously ask your banker as well. When you triangulate all the answers, then you know roughly what is the range for the market value of the property that you're going to invest. Number 9. What is the bank value? Bank value is more important than the market value because by end of the day, the market value is not your actual buying price. Okay, so you have to make sure that the property that you're going to invest has the bank value to support your final purchase price. Question number 10. What is the asking price? Now, whichever the price listed on the website or multi-listing website, it is not reflecting to the actual asking price because it really depends on how much the agent advertised the price of the unit. So you have to make sure that you ask the agent, or if you're able to meet the owner, ask him what is the asking price. Is it negotiable? Question number 11. Is it negotiable? Just because the owner and the agent asking for that particular price doesn't mean that is final. Always ask the owner or the agent, is the price negotiable? Because you definitely need to bargain for the good price. That is always what's happening, especially in Asia. Asian likes to negotiate and to bargain. Question number 12. Is there any loan left on the property? There are two reasons why we ask this question. Number one is that we need to know the timing. When there's a loan attached to the property, it takes time for us to transact the property. However, if the loan is not present in the property, then it's much quicker to transact. Reason number two, the reason why we ask is that we need to know, is there any room for us to negotiate? Question number 13. Is the current owner is the first owner of the property? If we know the owner is the first owner, it means that it depends on how long the property he bought, then we know how long he has been keeping the property, and therefore we know how much roughly is the equity on the property for us to maneuver on the pricing. Number 14. How long is the owner bought this property for? This question is important for us to determine if the property is subject to any real property gain tax (RPGT). The longer he holds the property, then it means that the tax applicable to the property is much lower, and therefore we can negotiate for a higher discount because the cost on the owner is much lower. Question number 15. Is the owner staying or rented out? Now this question is important for us to know if the property is able to rent it out, or how much is the rental if the owner rented out. Now if the owner is staying, then we need to do more legwork in order to find out if the unit is able to rent it out when we bought the property. Question number 16. How much is the rental? Now this is one of the most important questions among all, because in property investment you need to find out what is the rental for that property. Now you can ask the owner, you can ask the agent, you can ask the joint management body, you can find it online. Just make sure that you get the fact right, because end of the day, property investment is for long term, and therefore you cannot afford to make mistake in finding out the rental. Question number 7. How long the current tenant has been renting the unit? This question is able for you to determine whether if you were to buy the property, is there any tenancy come with it. If it's a tenancy come with it, then you don't have to worry to find a tenant. It is much easier because it's a legal possession. Question number 18. Any increment to the rental? With this question, you need to ask the owner whether the rental has been increased if the tenant already stayed for a number of years. This is to ensure that you're able to increase the rental in the future, because some people, some of the landlord, they don't get used to increase the rental. I've seen cases where the owner never increased the rental for the past 10 years. So when you take over the unit, and that's very hard for you to implement this to the existing tenant to increase the rental. So you have to make sure if the current rental is justifiable. If it's not, then you have to tell the owner to serve a notice for the tenant to move out so that you can get the rental that you want. Question number 19. Is there any tenancy agreement in force or lapse? Now this is only applicable to the unit with existing tenant. If the tenancy agreement already lapsed, it means that you need to negotiate the new terms with the tenant. If you don't want the current tenant, you can ask the landlord to issue a notice for them to move out during the time you transfer the property to your name. If there is a tenancy agreement still in force, then you need to find out if when you take over the unit, you have to take on as a legal possession, means you need to carry on the tenancy with you until it lapses, or you can serve the notice to terminate. Now this question is very obvious to know what comes with it. For example, furniture, fixed furniture, any fixture. Now this question is part of your costing, your budgeting, how much you need to put in order to furnish the unit. Now this is the one that you need to ask if you were to buy the property, any fixtures or furniture that come with it. With that, you can do your budgeting better. There you go, the top 20 questions to ask when you're hunting for your investment property. Asking the right questions enables you to make better decisions, leading to a good property. Do you like the top 20 questions with extended explanation? If yes, you can download the PDF file by clicking on the link in the description below. Until next time, I'm Danico. I see you in the next video.